Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Tuning In, Learn to Be Your Own Psychic, where we move one episode at a time away from the need for external validation and towards strong, confident trust in our own intuition. You guys don't need psychics, you are psychic. Now, this week we are going to pick right back up where we left off from last week's episode on universal truths versus individual truths. And we are even going to back up a little bit. And the first couple of sentences are actually going to be from last week's podcast so that maybe it will feel a little bit more connected. That's the intention with that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about growth. Growth requires discomfort. This is a universal truth, and it's a big one. So many of us never move because we are unwilling or unable to embrace the discomfort. But how are we growing when there are no growing pains? We aren't. What drives that need for control or whatever other thing is blocking us from growth? That's right, our own individual truths. One might be freestyling, frozen in fear. One might be quick stepping around their belief of their own self-worth. One might be holding form in a delicate waltz with their past traumas. How does free will play? Well, each and every single one of us is choosing to learn a new dance or to remain in their current dance rather than to step out of their comfort zone and try a new one. Now, we aren't meant to be perpetually uncomfortable. There's an ebb and flow to life. We grow, we celebrate, we rest, and we repeat in essence. Even within that rhythm, you are still coloring with choice, choosing to resist or to embrace, to accept or deny. Now, there are at least 3 laws wrapped up in this. The law of transmuting energy perpetually. I don't know. I think that's, you know what I mean. The law of gender and the law of rhythm. This is being highlighted to illustrate how much more complex, relational, layered a truth is than the laws we've been given. The laws aren't standalone rules and rely on each other to reveal a complete idea. We are here to deconstruct what someone else told you and to hear a potential truth. To open space to evaluate if you are believing yourself or someone else. How do you know what to believe? Do with it what you will. Google it, ask someone you trust, dig deeper, whatever you feel led to do. I never ask you just to take my word for it. This is for you to discern for yourself. I am merely a messenger. This is where you consult your individual truths for a feeling, your soul for resonance, and you either add it or you discard it. And that is your choice. That is your truth. More truths? Sure. Let's go. Okay. The only real love is unconditional. Real love is expansive. And everyone is worthy. That's a lot of truths right there. Now, we're going to keep it simple and focus just on the truths because I'm not trying to tie laws and repeatedly. I did it once. Doing it again will only demonstrate the exact same point. Laws are distorted, diluted, incomplete, and oversimplified. So we're just going to let that rest right there. And we are going to focus only on the truths. Now, the sad truth within this truth is that most of us grew up with conditional love. We were taught conditional love, and it fucked us. Let's be honest, it fucked us something terrible. So many of us are painting with this same brush and paint because it conditioned us to believe and behave as if we had to meet conditions to earn love. But that just ain't true, y'all. We all deserve unconditional love. When a baby is born, do we put expectations on the baby in order for us to love them? No. Do we decide that they hold less value when they don't meet expectations? Of course not. Why would that change for us at any point in our lives? It doesn't. We are just conditioned to believe that it does. But love, real love, doesn't come with conditions. It's inclusive. It's expansive. It helps us to grow into our best selves. And we are absolutely all inherently worthy just because we exist. Now, that isn't to say we can't hold boundaries or hold people accountable or any of that stuff. So, this is where you have to be mindful of your individual beliefs. What have we inherited, absorbed, internalized? We don't tolerate mistreatment, but we can do all of that without losing the capacity for unconditional love. All right, let's blow your mind. I know you've heard me say this. If you've listened to me for more than 10 minutes, you've heard me mention this. This one is going to be several truths layered into one really big framework. And it's profound. It's foundational and it's profound. I call it the primordial fundamental. And here goes. Everything is energy. Energy is everything. Energy is constantly in motion. And that motion is vibration. Vibrations resonate in frequencies. So we experience these frequencies and we align with these frequencies to call in our highest good. We don't chase it, we align with it. Emotions are frequencies. That's why they're so powerful. And the frequency of the emotion matters. Remember, Sully, laughter powers more than fear. Additionally, we are all connected back to the same source of energy. I call it source. Whatever you call it is just your individual truth coloring in the framework. This one source of energy is one stream, one field, one divine hum. But we are also still individuals here to have our own experience. We are all here to teach and to learn from each other. Every interaction carries an energy exchange, and energy will seek its own version of neutrality, of equilibrium. So if you are high vibe and you run across someone that is lower vibe and you start to feel drained, it's because they are literally draining you. Not necessarily on purpose, but it is an energetic exchange and it's automatic. Because that's the nature of energy. Energy is in constant motion. They will feel better, you will feel worse. Now, we can affect our energetic alignment by being mindful of our energetic exchange and intentional with our frequency by practicing things like gratitude, radical acceptance, forgiveness, and unconditional love. How do we color this with our individual truths? Just to throw out a couple of examples, we can choose to place conditions on the love we project. We can choose not to forgive. We can refuse to accept where we are. We can resist where we are going. We can lack intentionality about holding our power We can opt to not follow through on a boundary. There are many, many ways. And every single one will carry its own impact that the primordial fundamental has on our reality. Let's talk about trust and flow. Not a lot of people will see this as a truth. I actually almost didn't catch it. I just felt like something was missing and I went to go meditate, and Spirit insisted that I get right back to the channeling and talk about trust and flow. So let's talk about it. Now I'm going to channel again, so bear with me. I'm actually getting pulled to human design, specifically generator profile, where frustration is the indicator. I don't know the terminology, sorry. Frustration is the indicator for being out of flow. I feel like this is more than a generator thing. This is an everybody thing. Frustration is an indicator of being out of flow. Mindfulness is a truth. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, Spirit. I would have never said that, y'all. Mindfulness is a truth. No, a part of a truth. Are we building a truth? No, we are remembering one. Okay. So it's about the focus of our thoughts. Okay, so you get what you give. This is just energetic alignment. It's not, though, okay? It's about focus, not just alignment. So you want to be aware of what you focus on, because you do call in more of the same energy. And mindfulness is a huge part of all of that. It is more than just the now moment, which is important, but it's more than that. Future focused thought breeds worry, anxiety, and fear. Past focused thought breeds shame, guilt, and regret. All unnecessary to your now. Detrimental even. So you want to focus on now as much as possible. They're saying, you know how Bashar says you age less when you are in the present moment more? It's actually true. It's a glitch in the societal construct of time. Okay. Am I supposed to leave that in? They shrug. They said, sure, you can. Okay. And just as importantly, this also ties into the previous truth. You are in the now moment with objectivity. Okay, you need to be in the now moment with objectivity. Okay? It's important to practice mindfulness, to be in the now moment without lower vibrational habits like judgment. Along with that, you are meant to take inspired action. The action is your individual truth. So the important piece is not the action itself, but that you take inspired action. This helps keep you aligned. Okay. So we are to be chasing our highest excitement, and this helps us with alignment. But you have to be mindful not to hold an expected outcome or delivery method. So you can't hold on too tight to an end result, to an outcome. You can't assign expectations, and you cannot try to control the way that it comes to you, because that will breed frustration and remove you from the trust and flow, which is important to keep you aligned. Okay. Now we're going to talk about union. I feel like I'm going to love this. Okay. The divine feminine and the divine masculine. Oh boy. We hear about partnerships, talk about the idea already in the context of soulmates and twin flames, but the union is in each of us. We are all both masculine and feminine. We each naturally have a tendency towards one more than the other. You can be female and express more of a masculine essence or vice versa. Doesn't mean that the other isn't there. When we are walking a path of awakening, ascension, embodied truth, our internal union is a key piece. Ooh. It's more than balance. It's more than harmony. It's literally perfect union, the divine dance. Perfectly intuitive led action. It's ultra instinct. Don't think they didn't just flash me Goku. It seems so simple, but don't let yourself get caught up in that. Don't be fooled by the simplicity. Internal union is mastery. It's a mastery that very few people achieve in one lifetime. You thought you were reincarnating for fun, for vibes and sunsets? No loves. You are reincarnating for mastery. Mastery of truth, mastery of energy, mastery of union. Because when your inner feminine and masculine are in sacred partnership, when your intuition and your action are braided in trust, you become a living temple. And that is what changes the world. That's powerful. Wow. Okay, I have chills now. I feel like we are complete now in the truths. Let's talk about how we can honor both truths at once, the universal and the individual. This is important. There is a shift incoming, a huge energetic shift. Now, I've been actually feeling this for a couple of years now. It started off as a small, subtle knowing of something unknown. And it grew and it grew and it grew, and it's literally here now. There is still a lot of unknown, but I do know it is going to be massive. It's going to change the very way we exist. And it's going to be beautiful. They're talking about this because this is why this topic is so important today. It's a truth that needs to be remembered. Okay, so our universal truths are our canvas. They are the sheet music. They give us the clef, the measure, and the rhythm. Our individual truths are the notes, the melody, the lyrics. We choose those. We write our songs. We can all write on the exact same sheet music and have vastly different songs. This is how we honor both. When we hear someone else's music, we hold reverence for the beauty in their song and how it honors their individual expression. They don't have to dance to our song, and we don't have to dance to theirs. And it is all equally beautiful, valuable, honorable, and significant as it is different, special, and individual. Unity does not mean uniformity. We can connect in our oneness while we honor our individuality. Okay, so they're saying who we are, our personality, our quirks, our fire, is the incarnated version of our eternal ethereal being. So when we are no longer earthbound, we are still who we are, just untethered to the earthly vibrations. You remember your full self. So you are even more of who you are when you shed the direct earth connection. So we already know how to do this. That's the point. We already know how to honor the oneness and our individuality at the same time. It's not an earthbound concept. It's the lesson. You, in this mastery, are calling down a practice to the dimension you are present in. You are remembering what you know in your higher form. So you can honor both. Each person's truth can harmonize with the universal frequency without being identical. The connection and the individuality, the universal and the individual truths. How? There are some principles at play here, some big ones that are everything to aligning yourself in full authenticity, sacred ones, the kind that keep you grounded in your soul while expanding into your purpose. Radical acceptance, gratitude, unconditional love, patience, compassion, reverence. We all know these things. If you are practicing these things intentionally, then you are holding space for your own individuality while you are holding space to honor the individuality of others. Why are we saying it that way? Because in the thick of it, people are generally either foregoing others for themselves or foregoing themselves for others. Neither is the truth. Neither is balance, and neither is mastery. It's important to find the balance and hold space for both. So we practice our sacred principles and strip away what is detrimental for us: judgment, expectations, the urge to control, the view of your own individual truth as a universal truth, and the need to exert your will onto the belief systems of others. You got to shake those things. Then you can move into alignment. Then you can move to whole self integration towards mastery of truth, mastery of energy, mastery of union. This is when we remember who we truly are. This is the path of becoming whole. This is the threshold of enlightenment. This is ascension. Okay, they have pieced out. That's the end of it. I'll be honest, this particular episode was a little exhausting. I wasn't planning to channel the whole time, but it is what it is. It happens. So I'm not going to do a long goodbye. I'm just going to say I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out and tuning in with me. We'll see you next week.